Hey, my beautiful friends. I hope you guys are all doing well today. I wanted to just come on here and just chit chat with you guys a little bit. I don't have anything particular in mind to talk about, but I just wanted to come on here and just chat with you guys some. Today has been a pretty good day. Not much has really happened today, other than just the fact that I've been chilling out, listening to calm music, watching videos, hanging out with the cats, hanging out with my partner, and just trying to recover from things. The only real big thing that I did today was I did laundry. So that was really, it's pretty much the only thing that I did today that was like a big thing. And everything, yeah. Oh, and I also washed these 2 cups. These are like my emotional support cups is what I kind of call them. So I washed these because they needed a good washing. Not because they were dirty, but because I carry them around like all the time. And so I like to wash them in stuff, even though I'm always carrying them around. They don't get used for anything outside of water, but even like with water, I still like to make sure that they're washed, and dried out and stuff. So I'm particular about these things. I don't really have a reason for being so particular about it other than just these are like my special cups. And so I like to take really good care of like the cups that are like my special cups, as I call them. I call these like my fidget cups, basically, is how I view them, because they have these like things that twist and stuff. And they're both a little bit different. They both have different things on them. So that's part of the reason why I'm just particular about it. I'm always cleaning them. I'm always scrubbing them out and washing them, just because I don't know. I'm like that with the things that I like find comforting. I like for them to be clean 24/7. And I get a little weirded out when they're not. So I can't remember if I ever shared these cups in my video. I guess I just never really thought of showing them in a video. They've been around for a while now. I've had them for quite a long time, honestly. But I just don't think I ever really showed them in a video. I haven't really showed most of my cups in a video, like my special cups. I have like kids cups that I use for various different things. So this bottle is actually a matching one to my husband. My husband and I have the same exact water bottle. We got them from the thrift store, and yes, I did wash it out. I did make sure to clean it before using it, so I didn't just immediately put water in there, because I know sometimes I get those comments of people asking, in my real life, not online, but in my real life, people asking whether or not I actually wash the things that I use when I get them from the thrift store. So like whether or not I like clean the stuffed animals, or wash the clothes that I wear, or I do. I will either clean them before I show them on my videos, or I will clean them literally right after. Stuffed animals get wiped down and disinfected as soon as I walk through the door. So they get immediately wiped down and everything. But things like clothing, things like that, I will oftentimes like throw them in the wash after I've shown you guys them in videos. So yes, my things like that do get washed. I don't just immediately use the things that I get from thrift stores, because I know that there is also, obviously it's a water bottle. There is health reasons for washing out water bottles, and clothing, the same sort of thing. You want to make sure that the clothing that you use like gets washed first. But yeah, we have our Stingray here. If you guys know like the type of stingray that this is, let me know in the comments, because I have literally looked everywhere to try to figure out what type of stingray this is. It kind of looks like a zebra a little bit. It has like the zebra stripes on it, but if you guys have any ideas as to like this type of stingray, because I have literally tried to find this exact stingray because I love this stingray so much, and I wanted to find the type of stingray this is. I call it the zebra stingray, but I don't know if, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, or I don't know. But if you guys know what type of stingray or what type of thing this is, let me know in the comments, and everything. And Safu is with me here today. She's in the room with me. I don't currently know where she is in the room. She kind of goes quiet on me after a point, and she hides. Usually it's either in my sensory space or she hides in my bathroom and everything. And today, while I've been talking, I was on the phone like for a couple hours, talking to family. And while I was doing that, I was kind of cleaning around the house, basically. So I do like to clean my room specifically. I'm very particular about my room, especially. I'm particular about a lot of places in my house, like the kitchen, making sure the trash is always taken out, making sure my room is clean, making sure litter boxes are done. I'm very particular about those kind of things, but like, my room specifically is like my sensory space. It's my, like, it's where I spend most of my time. So I'm very, very particular about making sure that my room is cleaned, is organized. Organized for me doesn't necessarily mean it's not cluttered, because it has a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff. Obviously, significantly less stuff than I used to have, because you guys know that I got rid of a lot of stuff over the summer, due to obviously just wanting to get rid of stuff. I found my girl. Hello, Miss Ma'am. Do you want to say hi? Yeah. I love you. I love you. I love you, baby. I love you. So, yeah, I do tend to be very particular about my room and making sure that my room is well organized, making sure that I Swiffer my room like every other day. I sweep my room once a week, like underneath my bed, underneath the dresser that I have my TV on. I make sure to wipe down any dirt, any like dusty surfaces, things like that. I'm particular because I have to be. I have, obviously you guys know I have allergies. It's kind of hard to avoid talking about, you know, the allergies and those things on this channel because they're kind of a part of my life. And so it's like the things that are a part of my life, it's like, obviously I'm going to talk about them. There are things that I do like avoid mentioning too much into, like, I'm not going to go into a lot of details about like my trauma. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about like, you know, the more TMI details of, you know, my chronic illnesses and stuff. Obviously, with gastric issues, you guys can imagine there's things like throwing up that happens. I obviously deal with a lot of pain. I obviously deal with fatigue. But those are things that, like, I think they're generally, like, they're pretty well known in the chronic illness, like, environment. And with having, you know, being neurodivergent, I think there's just some things that are very obviously neurodivergent about me. I don't think that I can really per se hide those things. Obviously I have comfort items. Obviously my room is a little different than a normal 30-year-old. So there is a lot of stuff that, like, you guys obviously are going to be able to see about me. And plus I feel like part of the whole point of my channel is obviously acceptance, spreading awareness, showing life with those things. And also showing that it's okay to do things like going to therapy and going to other places. And I talk about some of that stuff because I know that there may be somebody out there who doesn't necessarily know how to access those things, like especially something like accessing, you know, social services, like a social worker or whatever. I don't know if I don't know how many people are actually aware that those services exist in certain environments. Like, I knew that social workers existed, obviously. I didn't know that they can be a useful tool when it came to medical stuff. I didn't know that certain, like, places like hospitals would have like a social worker that you can request to see, and that you can actually do that sort of thing. There's just things I didn't know, and part of the reason for sharing those things is maybe it'll help someone else out there to know all of that stuff. Maybe someone else out there will actually see that and be like, find that information useful, which is why I share it. I share that information because for the point of awareness, for the point of helping other people. I mean, yes, this channel is very much about me and my life and kind of my experiences with all of this stuff, but it's also in hopes that my channel will reach other people and will help someone else feel less alone, and will help someone else feel like maybe they have struggles with various different things. Maybe they're dealing with something with insecurities, and maybe they're dealing with their own struggles and feels alone and stuff. And I don't ever want anybody to feel like they're alone, and I want this channel to very much be showing that you can go through all of those things and still you know, still have a good life, and still be able to do things, and still be able to function. Because let's be honest, being an adult is hard enough without all of the added issues, all of the added struggles, challenges, however you want to put it, issues, struggles, challenges, setbacks, obstacles, however you want to phrase it. It's hard. It is challenging having health issues, dealing with trauma, dealing with mental health, dealing with any sort of difference in the sense is tough. And we don't get told when you go through that, we don't get told what our options are really. And especially if you're a female and you're maybe late diagnosed, or you've been misdiagnosed for the longest time, and now you're finally starting to find yourself and you're starting to learn about that. It can be difficult. It can really, really be difficult. I know that I didn't know a lot of things that I know now. Also, you're gonna have to excuse my cat meowing in the background. This is her night routine. Whenever I turn on the camera, or whenever I'm talking to somebody, or whenever I'm doing anything, if she isn't sleeping, she's meowing. Safu, why are you meowing? I have been giving you attention all afternoon since I came up here. I've been loving on you. I cleaned your litter box. Do I need to give you another snacky? Is that what's going on? Let's check and see. Do you need a snacky? Huh? Let's see if you need a snacky. Maybe that's what's bothering her. Maybe she needs another snack. But yeah, that's kind of the reason I share a lot of this stuff is as a way of like helping others who maybe don't know where to turn, or don't know where to look for things, or maybe there's somebody who feels like they're the only ones that go through it. And let's be honest, I'm very familiar with that feeling. With the feeling of feeling like you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where to turn, you don't know what your options are, and you oftentimes will find yourself feeling very isolated, very lonely. And that's partially a big part of why I share so much on this channel with you guys. And I show you guys all of these things. I have to go grab some food for her because it's right here. I share all of this stuff with you guys in hopes that it's going to help somebody out there who may be going at it alone. Maybe you don't have the supports in place to deal with these things. Maybe you're freshly diagnosed with something and you don't know the ins and outs, because obviously it's hard to know. It's hard to know what to do, you know? It really is. I'm still learning. There's a lot of things I'm still freaking learning on a everyday basis. Like, there isn't a definite, like, here's what you do, here's how you do it. And if you have that kind of thing where you have someone who explicitly gives you that, here's how you do it, here's what you do, all of that, I am so happy for you. And that is wonderful. And more places should be showing us, those of us who are diagnosed with neurodivergent slate, like autism, ADHD, or diagnosed with mental health issues due to whatever the reasoning behind it is. Obviously, there should be more discussions on it. But we kind of live in a world that's not really the case, I don't think. At least not from my experience. And again, everything I say on this channel, guys, is my experiences. It's based on my experiences, my understandings, my research, my talking to other people, and trying my best, to navigate things based on what I'm given. And I consider myself lucky to have a lot of these supports in place, because not everybody has that. And so oftentimes and I know that I have done this before, where we turn to places like YouTube, places like the internet, and we look to be able to find people that we can connect with, that we can relate with, that we can learn something from. And I know a lot of the channels that I'm a part of, and the channels that I watch, and the people that I interact with, I learn a lot from them too. I learn a lot about how to do things and what to do and where to turn and like all of that stuff. I learned those things as well. And so I do believe that part of who I am as a person, and part of what I think, the way I think is, like, as human beings, as people, we should be sharing things with each other. And now, that's not to say that there aren't things that are private. Obviously, there are certain things that are private. There are certain things that are not going to be, it's not a good idea to publicly talk about some stuff, like, there's just things that people are not going to talk about. Obviously, you would never say things like social security information. Obviously, you would never talk about, like, things like that. I'm obviously never going to come on this channel while I'm having a meltdown and show you guys it. I'm never going to, if my cats are in distress, or if they're struggling, or if they're going through something, I'm not going to come on here and video them while they're struggling, while they're going through it. I may come on here and talk about it if they have, like, a vet visit or whatever. I may come on here and ask for positive thoughts or good vibes or that sort of thing. But I'm never going to be the one that's going to show my animals in distress. I'm not. I'm not. Which is why, for example, like, our cat Tiger, Tig, or Tigger, as we call him, he wasn't on the channel. I didn't show him on the channel from the very beginning, because when we first adopted him, he was not in the greatest condition. He was very, very skinny. He had health concerns that needed to be addressed. And my first priority was not to show him on the channel, but to get him healthy. To get him to a point where he has a good quality of life now. He has all of that. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have his issues. He doesn't mean he doesn't have things that we're still working to address, and we're still working to figure out the reasons for. Obviously, he's probably one of our cats that has we have a couple of cats who have some health issues. Some of them more than others. But that's not something that I'm ever going to show online. I'm not going to show my animals in distress. I'm not going to show my animals in pain. I'm not going to show that sort of thing. You may get an occasional video where I show my animals, like I show Sapphire, and occasionally you would get the occasional hiss in my face from her because she got either startled by me picking her up because she wasn't expecting it, or or whatever. Cats hiss. That's a form of communication. That's what they do. But that's just not, I'm never going to come on this channel and share any of that. I'm not going to share my partner when he's struggling, I will eventually talk about it, maybe, depending on what it is, depending on if it's something that I can share. But I do believe that a part of who I am as a person is, the point of this channel really is, number one, obviously because I want to make videos, I want to talk about things. But the other part of it is because I want to create a community of people who can talk about with each other and learn from each other and help each other. And we would be so much better as a society, and as a you know, as a society, okay, let's just put it out. As a society, we would be much better off if we just helped each other a bit more. You know, I think caring and kindness come a lot easier than hatred and judgment. I don't know, at least for me. I find judging someone much harder and much more exhausting for me than being kind, accepting a person, showing compassion, showing empathy, sharing an experience, and everything. Like, one of the ways, like, and this is, I think, a thing that is even talked about oftentimes, I think, in the autism community, neurodivergent community, not necessarily just autism, but like neurodivergence in general. The idea of that we oftentimes will, when we're in conversation and someone is sharing something with us, oftentimes we will find ourselves sharing another story similar, one of our own stories similar to something that the other person talked about. And oftentimes that is misunderstood and mistaken as being self-centered, or as being this, that we have some sort of negative intent of making it about ourselves. But in reality, what we're trying to do is we're trying to show, hey, I understand. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I've been through this too. It's a way of empathizing, I think. Personally, for me at least, it's a way of empathizing. It's a way in which I show, I understand. I'm here for you. I've been there. I get it. It's not coming from a place of ego. It's not coming from a place of, look at me, pay attention to me, your thing doesn't matter. Because everybody's story matters. Everybody's voice matters. And I do believe that it's important to give a voice to those who may not have a voice. I do believe that talking about autism and spreading awareness of autism is important, and talking about the spectrum as a whole, not just one part of the spectrum, not just talking about one part of things, but talking about the spectrum as a whole, talking about things as a whole, I think is important, because it's important to represent everybody. And yes, I may not have the experience of someone who is profoundly autistic. Yes, I may not have the experience of someone who is, like, for example, who's like, I don't know, but like an idea like the profound autism. I have autism. I'm autistic. That does not mean that I can speak for those who are profoundly autistic. I don't know what it's like to be profoundly autistic. Now, I have worked with kids who are profoundly autistic, so I have some level of understanding. I have some level of knowing some things about it, but I can only speak from my experience. And I think that that's true with anybody, is a lot of us speak from experience, and everything, you know, and that's okay. And it's okay to speak from experience and to only have certain things that you can bring to a conversation. That's okay. That's what it's called. That's why it's important to share, and it's important to hear all voices, and to hear everybody, and to, you know, listen, active listening, not just listen to respond, but active listening to understand, listening to see, to understand a different point of view. We don't have to always agree with someone else's point of view or someone else's belief to still hear them. We don't have to agree with someone else's pain to still hear them and make them feel understood and heard and valuable and like they matter. We don't have to, and we should be giving voices to those who maybe don't have a voice. You know, we talk about those things to raise awareness. Talking about childhood trauma, like abuse, talking about autism, talking about mental health, talking about all of that stuff is all for giving a voice for those that maybe don't have one, or maybe don't feel comfortable in talking about these things. And yes, obviously being online and sharing things can be scary, can be very, very scary because of the world we live in nowadays. But it's important to, I think it's important to advocate. I think it's important to share our experiences. It's important to talk about. And I'm going to continue to do so. Obviously, there are things that I will not share. There are things that I will not show. Like I said, I will never show any of my family members in distress. I will never show my cats in distress. I will never show my partner in distress. I will never share, if we ever have kids, I will never share my kids' journeys with potty training. That is something I will never share. I will talk about, for example, what potty training can look like long after my kids have gone through it, for example, if I ever get to that point. I will talk about, my health struggles. I will talk about what happens, but I'm not going to ever show you guys me throwing up. I'm not going to show you guys when I'm in such severe amounts of pain that all I can do is curl up in a ball and cry because I'm in so much pain. I'm not going to pick up the camera in those moments. I'm not going to pick up the camera if one of my cats is having a health issue and they're in distress. Thankfully, I haven't had a lot of moments like that, but I'm not going to put that out on the internet. My cats don't need to be shown in their most vulnerable moments. My family doesn't need to be shown in a most vulnerable moment. Yes, talking about it is different from showing it. Yes, asking for positive thoughts, positive healing prayers, whatever it is different than coming on here and picking up the camera and showing you guys my cat's in distress, or showing you guys my partner in distress, or whatever. I do believe that advocating and showing reality comes with understanding that there are things that we just don't talk about, or that we just, not even just don't talk about, but just don't share. And for me, that means not giving out personal information. Not giving out, obviously address or bank information or that sort of thing. I mean, obviously those come as no-brainers. I feel like those come as no-brainers. But then also the other side of it is not showing a loved one, a pet, a family member, a friend in distress. I'm just not going to do that. And yeah, and I'm going to share my reality. I'm going to share my world as it is, because this is my life, and I'm not going to come on here and be something that I'm not. And if I come on here and I'm more exhausted than usual, or I come on here and I'm feeling more anxious, I'm going to talk about it. If I come on here and I want to show my bedroom, and my bedroom has stuffies and fidgets and dolls, and I'm going to talk about those things. If I come and I'm struggling with food intake, or I'm struggling with I will talk about it. Because there are people out there who wish they could and they can't. And there's a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about, there's a lot of misinformation out there about what it's like to have neurodivergence, what it's like to have chronic illness, what autism looks like, what life can look like. And obviously everybody's life is different. Everybody's circumstances are different. But this is just me sharing my little corner of my situation and my feelings and my life. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this chat and have enjoyed hearing me ramble on. I'm going to go deal with my cat and see why she is being so meowsy. I think it's probably time for me to put her to bed, because that's what I think what she's wanting. Because I gave her food. She has water. I don't know why she's meowing. I'm going to go cuddle with her a little bit and then try to put her to bed and see if that's what she wants. But anyway, I love you guys, as always. Remember, if you're going through it, you'll get through it. And remember who you are. And let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on advocating and what your thoughts are on things. But please be respectful. We can have differentiating opinions and still be respectful about them. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.